Welcome to Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is where rivalries heat up, legends rise, and every possession counts. You're watching Ginulat ang Mundo, where every play tells a story and every game shakes the basketball world. Let's talk about history in the making. Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves delivering an unforgettable performance in Game 3 against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Coming off a solid Game 2 with 6 points and tremendous ball pressure, the Timberwolves came into this matchup with something to prove, and they wasted no time. Anthony Edwards set the tone with an explosive running back shot, then followed up with a wing triple, giving the Thunder a taste of their own medicine. The first quarter was all Minnesota. They forced early turnovers, 4 in the opening minutes, and capitalized on every one of them. The Wolves broke down OKC's defense repeatedly, leaving players open for highlight reel slam. The Timberwolves executed with ruthless efficiency, and their aggressive defense stiffed the Thunder's rhythm. Edwards was electric on both sides, stripping the ball, disrupting plays, and soaring for a fast break dunk. It was clear defense was the foundation of Minnesota's early dominance. As the opening quarter unfolded, the game's defining X-factor emerged: control without fouling. Remarkably, there were no free throws taken in the first entire quarter. The Timberwolves contained Oklahoma City's top scorer, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, holding him to just 2 points. Rudy Gobert made his presence felt with a powerful dunk, while Nickeil Alexander-Walker knocked down a three-pointer from the corner. Anthony Edwards then capped off the quarter with a deep three-pointer, bringing his personal total to 16 points in just 12 minutes. The scoreboard told the story: Minnesota 34, Oklahoma 14. A 20-point lead after the first quarter sent a message loud and clear: the Timberwolves were on a mission. As the second quarter began, Minnesota's bench stepped up. Chris Finch called in Josh Minott and DJ Carton, but it was 24-year-old Josh Minott. Standing 6'6", who stole the spotlight, he came off the bench and scored 7 in just 3 minutes. The crowd recognized his hustle and heart, giving him a standing ovation. He didn't stop there, scoring 9 points in 5 minutes, further igniting the Wolves' momentum. Minnesota was firing all cylinders. At this point, fans and analysts are were thinking ahead. Could this team really go all the way to the NBA Finals? To put this into perspective, this was one of the most dominant playoff runs seen in the recent memories. The Timberwolves drew comparison to the Boston Celtics, who once led by 26 points in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals, but Minnesota was doing it even better, holding a 31-point lead over the Thunder by halftime, with the scoreboard reading a staggering 72 to 41 points. For Oklahoma City Thunder, the struggle was real. Their offensive engine, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, couldn't find his rhythm. The Thunder's starting five couldn't just respond to Minnesota's overwhelming intensity. Anthony Edwards, meanwhile, was being compared to the greats. Observers even began throwing out Michael Jordan references, not just for his scoring but for his leadership and killer instinct in the playoffs. As the third quarter kicked off, the Timberwolves showed no signs of slowing down. They went on an 11-2 scoring run, pushing their lead from 31 to 35. Oklahoma made a small dent, trimming it down to 22. But head coach Chris Finch wisely called a timeout to halt the Thunder's momentum and reset the game plan. Anthony Edwards continued his show, this time with a spectacular reverse baseline layup, hanging in the air in pure MJ fashion. He wasn't just scoring, he was putting on a clinic in body control, footwork, and finesse. Ant-Man added yet another field goal, and by this point, the game was all but decided. Minnesota began racking up free throws in the second half, ending with the 4 points in the third quarter alone. Edwards remained the MVP of the moment. With under 5 minutes remaining in the third quarter, he stepped up and drilled a long-range three-pointer that sent the crowd into a frenzy. When the dust settled on the third quarter, Anthony Edwards had already crossed the 40-point mark. The Timberwolves had stretched their lead to 37 points. The scoreboard now read 107-70, and fans in the Target Center were witnessing a historic performance. Minnesota had scored 72 in just the first half, a franchise record for most points scored in a half during a playoff game. The fourth quarter was largely academic. Minnesota had already delivered a knockout punch. Julius Randle stepped in and added back-to-back field goals, showcasing the depth and versatility of this Timberwolves squad. There was that little Oklahoma City could do. No miracle comeback, no dramatic shift in momentum, just the inevitable close out to a victory. As the final buzzer sounded, the Timberwolves had secured a statement in this series. Anthony Edwards finished the game with a draw, dropping 30 points, along with 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. His performance was dominant, well-rounded, leading by example and proving once again why he's one of the league's most electrifying young stars. Julius Randle also had a strong showing, contributing 24 points. Together, these two propelled Minnesota to a convincing win and inched them one step closer to their postseason dreams. Game 3 wasn't just a win, it was a declaration. The Minnesota Timberwolves are no longer underdogs, with Anthony Edwards leading the charge and the entire roster executing to perfection. They've established themselves as true contenders in the NBA playoffs. And if this performance is any indication, their journey to the finals and maybe even beyond might just be getting started. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.